Hello and welcome to the second episode of Premier Perspective. Today, we are going to be talking about Manchester City versus Tottenham. For everyone who's listening, please excuse me for my super nasally voice today. I'm recovering from a nose surgery, but I wanted to be able to provide everyone with some content today. So, thank you.
All right, so this game, it was frustrating to watch, but just City with so many issues, just so many the usual ones as well. They look so sloppy going forward. It's like they're trying to force a goal all the time. Like they're too direct. Direct is good.
Too direct, yeah, for sure.
You want goals, and you want that kind of free play that they had in their title winning seasons. But right now, it looks like they're just constantly pushing. They don't recognize the time when it's time to go and when it's time to stay back and hold the ball a little bit. And that's their downfall because if you don't know when to do what kind of play or when to execute certain types of play, they don't really have a type of play right now. They're just kind of playing and going for it. And it's not working out for them, especially like a team like Tottenham, who's so solid. Like Tottenham they were very impressive. As much as it hurt to see City lose, they weren't going to win that game, even though it was only 2-0. Tottenham looked very good, even though they sat behind the ball, which is a little frustrating to play against. It does suck, but they countered really quickly. Kane playing almost a false nine like he has this season, playing really deep so he can get a lot of passes, which is why he has so many assists. He has goals too, but the assists are almost just as much this season, and that really pulled City's defense out.
Yeah, definitely frustrating to watch, but understandable. Manchester City have been poor all season, and this is just another pure example of that. They seem to have little to no motivation. They had no heart when they were playing, and I feel like the main issue with them this season is that they have lost their identity. What has made them such a good team? Unfortunately, this year they haven't been able to match that level.
Yeah, and um, their play, the the way they go out of game to hold the ball as long as possible, and they should be being patient, but they haven't. The other day they had 66% possession, leaving Tottenham with 34, but 66% possession to not score a goal. But they had 22 shots and then 5 on target. So what's the problem? You have 17 shots off target. Like, of course, you're going to have a good amount of shots off target. Some are going to deflect. Um, some are going to go right around the post. Some are going to hit the post. I don't know if those count, but still 22 to 5 on target compared to Tottenham's with 4 shots and 2 on target and 34% possession. So they're so much more clinical than
It,
City are, and that's the problem. There's no urgency when it comes to goal. There were uh, 2 chances that stood out to me. One, the Jesus handball, which was for sure a handball, because where it hit, it didn't look like it, but he swatted at it, so it definitely was, no doubt about it. But still, the way he held the ball up there, like it was good play for Laporte to then go score the goal, even though it ended up getting called back. There was just like too much urgency there. They need to find a calm urgency. Uh,
yeah, I feel
yeah,
like a lot of that has to do with the lack of efficiency.
yeah,
They're not efficient going forward. They don't take advantage of their chances, so it's more difficult for them to play well. With Pep's system, it has to be played in a certain way, and with how City's been doing, it seems like they're lacking that last piece. They're always going to be able to possess. They're always going to be able to dominate a game, but it seems like they're missing that final piece. I don't know. That has to do with missing a striker, with not having Aguero, Jesus. You don't know if he's the guy. Do they have to buy another striker? Who knows? But I feel like this is the problem with City.
yeah. Like you said, patience. They're always gonna. A team like City is always gonna possess the ball. If you look at Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, the other teams didn't touch the ball. Barca would lose the ball, and the difference in Barca, um, that Barca team from like 2008 to 2013 in this City team is that City lose the ball and they're now all backing off. Now they don't want it anymore. If you watch that old Barca team, if you watch some of those games against against big teams, excuse me, if you watch the El Clasicos, they're they'll lose the ball pretty high and recover it right back to the CDM. And then that leaves another question. Is Rodri in a reliable enough center defensive midfield?
Yeah, and that's something that is questionable. If Rodri's long term, we saw Fernandinho play that role beautifully, but is Rodri capable of doing the same? I'm not too sure. I feel like City maybe has to partner him with someone else back there. I don't know if he's really necessarily the guy, but he's been inconsistent. I'm not sure how he's gonna do, but I feel like with City, uh, something that you don't think people will ever say is that their midfield has been the issue. Being creative is being the issue. Uh, Man City's known for their defensive problems, but this year defensively they've been pretty decent. Um, but it's just about scoring goals now.
Yeah, defensively they've been great. Um, but their shape, and I think shape really comes down to your midfield. And you have Rodri, who almost seems like a roaming defensive midfielder. I think he would work well in a system of two defensive midfielders. But if he is usually relied on to hold by himself because they usually play uh, De Bruyne on the right of him and Bernardo Silva on the left of him, just two players that can go forward, which is why they have so much possession because they can both connect to the back. But if you have Rodri hold by himself, he's really not holding that area. He's almost like either a fifth defender or another attacking midfielder. So you need somebody who's very defensive minded. I don't know who exactly the answer to that is, but I think I think they should definitely maybe even consider looking towards their like youth academy because a lot of those players, um, the up and coming now are taught positioning differently than players from say Spain like Rodri or so. I think they
Yeah,
should
I'll
definitely
agree
look
with you
towards
on
that.
that. I feel City Academy, they're gonna be taught the same system in case the fact that they ever go up to the first team. I feel like we're now at a point in the season where I would not mind giving a youth player a chance in the first squad.
Yeah, for sure. Like they could, and they bring a lot of energy. Um, they want to be clinical because it feels like the city team or the players that are out right now, a lot of them aren't looking for. They're just taking their chances and doing what they have to do or doing the best they can, but they're not really focusing on making those chances count, which is why they don't score goals, which is why they score if they do once or twice maybe. And that's not enough for a team like Manchester City. If you look at the names that they have up top and the talent in midfield that Kevin De Bruyne brings with assists, he'll provide like perfect assists. Um, but they mean nothing if nobody's there to finish them, to make them, to put those numbers up for him. Um, so yeah, I think a youth player would. They want to be again. They want to be clinical because this is their chance. If they're not, if they don't do well, they're not going to get called back up. But if they are, they keep going and they're going to continue. That's why a player like Phil Foden. That's why he did so well because he did really well in his first games with the team. Um, and then he Guardiola kept playing him. Pep was able to keep playing him because he knew he could rely on him. And
He
we
was
need more of that
consistent.
in a different position. Yeah, he's definitely consistent and he has that drive. He has that hunger to keep going forward. We need someone with drive and hunger on the defensive end. And I think that's part of the issue that why we're not held together.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that as much as City did play poorly, I feel like we must acknowledge that Mourinho set up this Spurs team in a way that worked perfectly. Spurs played pretty much as well as they could in a situation like they were put in. So I feel like that's something that we should talk about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were really impressive. Um, they put a lot of numbers behind the ball, but they were able to counter so quickly because they had Kane almost in a false nine position, and they had Bergwijn and Son. Son was either able to carry out of the back, or he was able to just go forward on the opposite side, parallel to Bergwijn, and Kane was able to distribute. And if you look at, I think it was the first goal. It was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the first goal. Kane stepped up into into the space of about a false nine cam, and João Cancelo followed him. And okay, it makes sense. Again, where's Rodri? But he pulled him right out of there. Son went through and Son scored. Now that might not be the exact play, but even if it wasn't, they got so many chances just like that, and it worked. They were really quick playing out of the back, and the urgency. You could tell there was a difference in the urgency. They were ready to go. Once that ball hit Kane, everybody's forward. But there were three of them forward, well, two forward, getting ready to go once before Kane sent the ball. And by the time that goal was scored, like multiple people were up. Their full attacking force, including the midfield behind them, was up. And that's what other teams, not just City, but other teams struggling to go forward, struggling with a sense of urgency, um, especially on the counter attack when so many teams are vulnerable. You can see that at City, you're all pulled out. On a counter attack, you're all pulled out. And especially with players that don't know how to hold their positions. João Cancelo isn't a left back. Rodri doesn't know how to play CDM. So with players that um, don't know how to hold their positions well, aren't confident in their actual positioning when it comes to the counterattacks, you're always going to get pulled out. And that proved to be an issue for City, and Tottenham took advantage of it really well. And Mourinho, he's definitely, it's amazing what he's done, what he's been able to do there. Even though their defensive line seemed a little vulnerable to City's through balls, they got split pretty easily. All City's chances that they could have taken or should have, um, they're there's a split between the fullback and the center back almost all the time. So that's something they need to look at to sort out. Because other teams, like a Manchester United on a good day, will take advantage of that with their tricky and quick strikers like
100% will take advantage of that.
yeah, like Martial and Rashford. But uh, as long as they work that out and work out their defensive issues, I know they're not the quickest, but again, positioning things, maybe play your CDM a little bit deeper. Other than that, they look really good. You can't take away from how they played despite the City loss.
Yeah, as much as we want to dissect why City played bad, why we're disappointed at City, we have to acknowledge that Spurs did really well, that Mourinho set up the system well. I feel like something that was great for him was whenever Spurs dropped back in defense, his two holding mids, which was Sissoko and Dombele, I think,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
no,
Ndombele. Yep.
Hojberg,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
that
Ndombele played a little
they were
higher
able
just behind him.
to basically drop into a back six, and City were lost all creativity that way. They were unable to create chances. It's pretty much what shut them down. So I give a lot of props to Mourinho and the system that he put in place because this is what really helped him.
Yeah, it's something that we're gonna see more of uh going forward of the season. Looking at Tottenham's schedule, it's a difficult schedule. I think the next 6 games include teams like Arsenal, Leicester. I don't know about United, no, because they played United already. Yeah, that was a big one. But yeah, their schedule looks very difficult, but I think they can overcome it. I think if they keep playing and put the same amount of uh tactical tactical thought into the games, the smaller teams aren't going to have anything to do with it. They're not going to have a chance against it. Um, if Manchester City can't tactically, Tottenham's tactics mixed with the urgency they have in their play. I mean, just look at Son and Kane. I don't know how many goals they and assists they have between them now, but it's probably between them. I'd say it's probably about 25 at the moment, goals and assists included. But if we see more of that, Tottenham's a very exciting team to watch. Never a dull moment. Ndombele, love seeing him play. The energy he brings, he can play almost anywhere. And they play as a team. They move as a unit. They go forward as a unit, and they go forward with urgency. And you know that they're going to make something out of it, as opposed to Manchester City, who, if they go forward, they might make something out of it, or they might hold it up and wait for the perfect time, which you don't need. You need to go and create from there because they have the creativity for it. They have the talented players on the attacking and defensive if they need to, or on the fullback positions in Cancelo and Walker, who can create um, from what looks like maybe nothing. but they need to be more confident in that. They need to go for it. They need to find someone that's able to create and somebody that's willing to put in that energy to finish these chances, because that's their downfall. That's really it. They're playing well. Other than that, they're holding possession, but they need to. If once they get that sense of urgency in their squad, it's going to be a whole different game for them. So, as it was an amazing game to watch, Tottenham played very well. Disappointing for City, but we'll go into the next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to sort everything out and get some bigger results on the board. But that wraps it up for our second episode of Premier Perspective. We hope you enjoyed this rant of ours. It was difficult as City fans, but we hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Please come back for the next episode of Premier Perspective, and we hope you enjoyed, and have a nice day. We'll see you guys.